Is this good, Avalon?
No.
Okay, because we're live now. All right, do you want me to make it a little bit bigger for you? Is that better?
No, that one.
That's good? Okay. All right, so this morning I woke up to like get ready and start making my way downstairs. And I walk by Avalon's door and I hear her crying. So of course I go and grab her. So this morning during this reading we have Miss Avalon joining us. She currently has a movie up on the screen as well. So I'm hoping that it goes well, basically. But it was either this or set her upstairs on the main floor with a movie. And last night the boys broke my camera, like my nanny cam that I have in my living room. So that's not going to happen today. Because I'm not going to leave her upstairs by herself without at least a camera on her. I know, weirdly, I just don't want to do that for some unknown reason. FYI, the line. Okay, sounds good, Mrs. Lee. But, FYIT. Mrs. Lee, I think that there is something going on with your messaging. Can you guys hear me and see me? Let me know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Did you want to color anything with it? Yeah. You might have to go to Mommy's office. You want to go to Mommy's office for the colors? Is it better to watch on here or Patreon? It's better to watch on here because on Patreon, what happens is you have to click the link and it comes here. So you actually have to watch the lives themselves on YouTube. But then you can watch the recording when it's over. You can watch the recording on Patreon. So that's kind of nice. The link on Patreon goes to YouTube Studio. Oh. That means I gave you guys the wrong link. That's exciting. Gonna be honest, I feel like there's definitely something I should know to be able to fix that, but I don't know if I can know it. So let me pull up my thing and go ahead and click on it. YouTube, accounts, YouTube Studio. I don't want to log in. Okay, let's see. Use this link. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm typing in a response to anybody who... Here is a better link. Paste. Paste. It doesn't let me select... It doesn't let me give you guys the link. Oh, shoot. Hey, this is fun. I'm glad I started early. Hey, no more. All done. All done. Do you want to go get some coloring stuff? There's some coloring stuff in Mommy's office.
Okay.
Do you want to get some coloring stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, well then go get some coloring stuff in Mommy's office, sweetie. Okay. Better. Okay, I am so sorry about that, everybody. I did this myself last night instead of having Tony do it for me. I have a 3-year-old grabbing my phone. That's funny. Mrs. Lee, you're good. I've experienced that multiple times, so I get it. Sorry, usually Tony helps me set up lives and stuff and videos, and I did it last night by myself because I should have done it earlier, but I kept basically running into complications with having Tony help me, so it was great. So I did it myself last night, and we all know I'm not exactly technologically gifted. So hopefully I typed a response on that thread to go ahead and use this link instead. And I'm hoping that will work, but I don't know. Hey Lola, I'm doing really good actually. I'm doing great. It's gonna be a lot of back and forth today with you all because of Avalon. So I'm sorry, but today will not be audible quality, like Audible the app quality, but it sure will be fun with Avalon's commentary on everything. She is sneaking candy right now from my office. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, we have high chews. We have a bunch of high chews. Bribery. Yeah, so she just found them. That's exciting. Did you find some pens too? Oh my gosh, you found so many things. Oh, okay, come sit down. Come sit down. We're gonna go ahead and start reading soon. Okay.
Okay.
All right, you ready? You got some pens too? I'm gonna put them up on your desk if that's okay. Can I put them on your desk?
Yeah.
Thank you, but I'm gonna take that away because that's not a toy. Thanks, dude. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna do this, okay?
Okay.
You're doing awesome. Thanks, Lida. I put the link, I hope, on Patreon. Tanya, you're amazing. Thank you, sweetie. Any summer plans this year? I know it's coming up soon. No. My family has a bunch of summer plans, like a bunch of different family reunions and stuff that people are kind of thinking about doing. We don't have any solid plans yet because I just don't know. We kind of have to pick, if we're going to do something, we have to pick one, because doing all the trips everybody wants to do that are planned, it's pricey, but it takes time away from our kids' schedule. So we're probably going to pick one trip, whatever one my siblings are going to go to, like the most of my siblings are going to go to. So options are Yellowstone National Park, Lovell, Wyoming, Disney World, Disneyland, Washington State. What were the other ones? I feel like there was something in Phoenix and so there's a couple options. You want this? What do you say?
P.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Sure. Why not? There's your candy. What do you say? Thank you, Mama.
Dear Mama.
Like this. Thank you, Mama. Can you do thank you?
Dear Mama.
Thank you, like this. Like this. Thank you.
Dear Mama.
You're welcome, Avalon. I love you. I don't actually know. Oh, you dropped it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start rating though. You're awesome, Linda. Thank you so much. Avalon definitely favors your family, McKelty. Thank you, Lola. I think that when you see her next to Tony's mom, then she looks exactly like Tony's mom. The rest of Tony's family, not so much, but Tony's mom, 100%. I think she looks like Tony's mom. I think what she looks like me is, pale blonde hair. And then she's got blue eyes, but I don't know what that comes from. All right, let's read. Avalon, we're going to read a book. Does that sound good? Can I read a book to you? Yeah, this is a book. Who's this? Who's this? Do you know who this is? Oma? Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Grandma? Grandma? Grandpa? Oma? You know who these are? She knew who Oma was. The other one, she said something that wasn't exactly English, but she knows who Oma is. So that's good. All right, we are on chapter 6, Janelle. This is the part 2 sorority version. So we're on Janelle right now. So good morning. I hope you guys are all settled in and ready. We're going to begin soon. All right. You want to hold it so you can look at them? That one's empty. Oh, you're going to throw it away? The piece of candy that I opened for her? I put the garbage to the side. No, you can't have that. That's not a kid toy. I know it's pink, but it's actually not a kid toy. No. Hey. It's not a kid toy. Can I show you why it's not a kid toy? Give it to Mama. Let me show you. So, this is called a lighter. A lighter does fire. The fire is hot. You'll get burned. It's hot. So, what we're going to do is we're not going to touch this, okay? This is for mommies and daddies, okay? Thank you. Promise? Thank you. I don't know exactly where she found that, but we're not going to put it back where it was. So, are you saying hi? Can you see Avalon? That's Avalon. Okay, chapter 6, Janelle. I was enchanted with the idea of polygamy when I married Cody. I was in love with my new faith, with the possibilities of love, family, and sisterhood it offered. I imagined that my new sister wife, Mary, would immediately become my best friend. I believed that Cody would have no trouble navigating between us. I was so taken with the storybook notion of happily ever after that I was completely unprepared for the reality that awaited me. Immediately after moving in with Mary and Cody, I began to lose my sense of self. While I never once doubted that I'd make the right decision in choosing both Cody and my new faith, I struggled to find my way in my new life and lifestyle. When I was young, I lacked self-esteem. I struggled with my body and didn't excel at any particular area in school. As I grew up and graduated from high school, I slowly started to find my way in the world. I realized what was important to me and what I valued. I discovered that I enjoyed working. I knew what, in addition to having children, having a career would be one of the few things that would matter most to me and bring me a sense of security and happiness.
Hey, Mom.
What do you say? Say please, Mama.
Please, Mama.
Thank you. I have always been happiest when I've devoted myself to my work. Although I wasn't sure what career path to follow, human resources, accounting, bookkeeping, I was determined to advance myself in the workplace, especially when my first marriage failed. Working gave me inner strength and confidence. Yeah, that's Oma. After Cody and I returned from our honeymoon, I moved into the guest bedroom of his and Mary's house. In no time, I came to feel like a guest who had overstayed her welcome. I felt like I had barged not just into their house, but into their marriage. Mary and I went from cordial to frosty overnight. We sniped at each other over the smallest things. When she was younger, Mary had quite an overbearing personality. It was clear I was unable to do anything right, or rather, in a way that suited Mary. I folded Cody's clothes incorrectly. I bought the wrong dish soap and put away the dishes in the wrong places. I learned never, ever to fold Mary's laundry for her, but to leave it in the dryer long after the buzzer signaled that it was done. She made it clear I was disrupting her household. I was raised in a family that believed in keeping the water smooth. I'm a pleaser. I was raised to be non-confrontational, so I caved to Mary on all fronts. Many, many times I wanted to tell her off, give her a piece of my mind, but I just buttoned my lip and did things her way as best I could. I never felt as if the house was mine in any way. I kept to my bedroom as much as possible. We were all so young then and new to this principle in both theory and practice. I know now that our experience is by no means unusual for young plural families, and the first year of living the principle is far and away the most difficult. Many couples who do not press past this year, but divorce was never a question for us. We were committed to the lifestyle, as difficult and stressful as it may have been. Our main problem was that we all lived under one roof, which never allowed me sufficient alone time with Cody. Cody didn't know how to behave as my husband in Mary's house. So we watched a movie together at night. Cody and Mary would sit together on the couch while I felt left out in the cold, so I learned to separate myself. I began to physically distance myself as much as I could in over a very small 3-bedroom mobile home. I didn't spend much time in the common areas, instead setting up my bedroom as my living space. Cody was gone on his sales job from 6:30 in the morning until 10:30 at night, 6 days a week, which made it even more uncomfortable. I would spend time at work, go out to spend time at the family ranch, and then come home and go straight to my room. I continued to pursue my study of Native American arts and crafts and wild plant herbology, both of which were easier to undertake in the rural environment of the family ranch.
Mama.
No more, sweetie. You already had 2. You eat a pancake first, and then I'll give you more, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mama.
Sugar-wise, they're probably the same amount of sugar, but at least that's got something else in it, too. So, sorry, I lost my spot, guys. My mother and Cody's father lived only a half hour away, so I spent as much time as I could up there. I threw myself into life on the ranch, helping out as much as I could, working outdoors, helping me create an identity for myself. Outside of the family that I had just joined, it allowed me to clear my head and regain some sense of self. Mary and I were stuck at home with our disagreements far too often in the first years after I joined the family. We rarely spoke to each other, but we tolerated each other. We were like roommates who didn't get along but managed to live together all the same. This was not the celestial plural marriage I'd imagined. It was uncomfortable and disheartening. Often, Cody would take Mary with him when he worked out of state, which made me very resentful of her. I couldn't just take off from work as she seemed to be able to do. But when Cody didn't work, she didn't get paid. I thought it was extremely flaky to blow off work for fun like that, especially when we were so broke. Some of the family clucked their tongues when they saw Cody and Mary drive off on Sunday night after dinner at the ranch, leaving me to go home alone to our house in Powell. I was left at home in an unfamiliar small town in Wyoming, far away from most of the people I knew. This was the first time in my life I've lived anywhere without many relatives or friends nearby. It was a terribly bleak time for me. My mother, of course, lived on the ranch where I spent a lot of time. She was the only person I could rely on during this difficult phase. While we were both able to commiserate a decent amount, she was also going through her own adjustment period. Like me, she was new to polygamy and didn't have all or even any of the answers about how things should be and how they should work. Adjusting to any marriage, let alone a plural one, is an incredibly individual experience, and it is all-encompassing. Your entire worldview and your entire culture, personal and religious awareness goes through a radical upheaval. You barely have time to worry about what's going on in the outside world. I found that I had to do so much work readjusting my own parameters and shifting my own perspectives that I didn't think too much about my mother's parallel experiences. While I was aware that my mother was involved in many of the same personal and emotional struggles as I was, we didn't discuss them often. We supported each other and were available to each other, but we never explored the depths of our conversion together. We were both too wrapped up in our own transitions to examine these things as a team. Even though my mother and I never discussed our initial experience with polygamy with one another, it was comforting to have her within driving distance. When I moved to Powell from Utah to marry Cody, I hadn't simply left all of my friends and family behind, but I'd also alienated many of them by accepting polygamy.
Mama, I want to say.
I love you. My sister and her husband tried to intervene and pull me back into the LDS faith. Some of my other family members even went so far as to stage a small-scale intervention to reconvert me, or as they saw it, save me. When I was 8 months pregnant with Logan, Cody, Christine, and I visited Salt Lake. I took the opportunity to see some of my relatives. Cody and Christine had dropped me off at my relative's house, so I was without a car until they returned. I guess my family decided to take advantage of the fact that I was a captive audience until Cody got back. They cornered me in the living room and began hurling Mormon scripture at me. They told me what I was doing by living with Cody. They didn't recognize our marriage was wrong. They said that I was giving up my blessings. I was furious and hurt. Eventually, I disengaged myself from them and told them they could go hang it in their arse. I ran upstairs and waited for Cody and Christine to return. Many of my other relatives, such as my maternal grandfather, never forgave me and did not speak to me again. Over time, I've rebuilt many of these relationships, but those first years when I was new to the principle, losing my family really hurt. At least I still had my mother for support. She was by my side at our family gatherings, which made me feel as if I was not entirely shunned. Normally, I would have turned to my career as an outlet to bolster my self-confidence. But when I married Cody, I had been forced to quit my stable job in Utah and move to Wyoming, a small town with few employment opportunities. While I did manage to find a job, I felt that I had wandered far off course from my career goals. About 6 months after marrying Cody, I discovered that I was pregnant. Naturally, I was thrilled. I had something of my own, something that would, at least in part, make me feel as if I were an important member of the Brown family. Even though I hadn't managed to figure out who I was and how I fit into the family I had joined, I was proud to be bringing the first child into our world. I knew that it would be uncomfortable telling Mary that I was pregnant. She had been unable to conceive after 3 years of marriage. However, I have to say that I didn't care how she felt about my news. If it had set her, so be it. Things were incredibly tough in our relationship, so her feelings were of little importance to me at that moment. Cody, of course, was beyond excited at the thought of becoming a father, but our happiness did little to smooth over the tensions in the household. During my pregnancy, relations between Mary and me reached an all-time low. I was physically exhausted and sick, which weakened my ability to put up with Mary's snide remarks and jabs. While she never overtly made me feel unwelcome in the house, I rarely ventured out into the rest of the home. I felt completely disenfranchised, even though I was carrying Cody's child. Just before one of those trips, when I was being left behind once more, my pregnancy hormones were making me feel especially vulnerable. Cody had taken a new job logging on a mountain. Wow. And I was upset to learn that he was taking Mary with him. Mary took advantage of the situation to be exceptionally brutal. One of my friends and I had experienced with my makeup. As I was crying that I was being left behind, Mary began to ridicule the makeup I was wearing. This was the final straw after all the passive-aggressive behavior and snide remarks I had been dealing with for so many months. I completely lost it. I felt as if I was on the verge of a complete nervous breakdown. Cody was on his way out of the door when I stopped him. There were tears running down my face. "I just need to know that you love me," I said. A strange expression spread across Cody's face. I felt as if he was going to laugh, not out of cruelty, but out of relief. "Of course I love you," he said. "That's all I needed to hear," I told him. "That's it," Cody said. "That's all I needed to say?" I managed to nod through my tears. The smallest things make the greatest difference, but we were all so young and we had taken on so much. Cody had a lot of learning to do. He was still a naive 25-year-old. His father, his mother, Mary's parents, and my mom were giving him advice from all sides. But ultimately, Cody would have to listen to himself and to his wives to achieve his own emotional maturity and understanding. Right before I... Bless you. Wow, your knee looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. Do you want to do mommy's as well? Or are you just tired? Okay. She's coloring on her knee. We replaced all of the markers in the house with washable ones because no matter how many times I tried to ask her to stop coloring on herself, she doesn't stop. So they're washable markers, and I pay attention to the brands I buy now. So that was just a tidbit. So she's coloring on her knee right now with purple marker. Better than the walls, I think, personally. But I'm also, I'm not going to stop it necessarily. We'll get to the stage of maybe trying to stop it. But right now, it's not hurting anybody, and it's not hurting her. So moving along back to the book, now that you guys have several snide things. Okay, here we go. Right before I gave birth to Logan, Cody began courting and then married Christine. I was so committed to the principle that it didn't occur to me to be jealous. In fact, I was really excited about the prospect of having a wife in the family besides Mary and me. I suspected that Christine's arrival would take a lot of Mary's focus off me, get me out of the line of fire, if you will. During their brief courtship, I was heavily pregnant, so I didn't have a lot of time or energy to worry about a new sister wife. I didn't know Christine as well as Mary did, but she seemed nice and sweet, if a little naive. It was clear to me that Christine didn't just want a relationship with Cody. She wanted to join our family, which made me happy. It seemed like she would be a good fit with us. I expected we would be better friends than Mary and I were, and I looked forward to that. Christine joined the family only a few months before Logan was born. She and I had our differences, but nothing serious. At first, Christine came across as something of a little princess. I was baffled by the fact that Christine didn't believe that she needed to work in order to contribute to the family. It's funny to say these things now, because over the years, Christine has morphed into the cornerstone of our household stability. And has... Are you okay?
No.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
It's purple. Are you okay? Do you not like it anymore? Okay, well, you can wash it off. We have wipes. Christine has morphed into the cornerstone of our household stability and has worked tirelessly for everyone. Back then, however, here.
Nothing.
There you go. Do you want to color on mommy?
Pink.
Yeah, that's blue. Say blue.
What?
Yeah, you can do the blue one. You want to color it? We have a temporary tattoo because that's how Avalon and I play right now. So she's going to color the temporary tattoo. All right. Back then, however, she had little experience living apart from her parents and was clueless about many practical things. Initially, this grated on me. Despite these minor misgivings, Christine was a boon to our family. Almost overnight, the atmosphere in the house changed. Christine took Mary's focus off me, and some of the tension started to evaporate. Christine had grown up in the principle, so she knew the joys and the pitfalls of plural marriage. She was incredibly cheerful and energetic. She saw the world through rose-colored glasses. Her sunny disposition was the perfect antidote to our sour environment that had prevailed in our house for too long. As Cody liked to say, Christine saved our bacon. After a few months, Christine and Mary developed a camaraderie that allowed Mary to forget her grievances against me. I was able to take care of my baby and continue working, while Christine got her own apartment a few months after she and Cody had married. I still lived in the house like a roommate. But a lot of Mary's energy, both negative and positive, had been diverted to Christine. Unlike Mary, who knew Christine from years back, I had no history with her. Once the dust settled between my sister wives and they were able to put aside those initial petty jealousies that crop up at the beginning of almost any plural marriage, they spent a lot of time together. They had their own friendship, which I wasn't part of. They would run to the store together or go off on small adventures. I felt as if I was being purposefully excluded. I have always been overly sensitive to exclusion, even if I didn't want to be part of the activity I was being left out of. Most of the time, when Mary and Christine were going off to do their own thing, I wouldn't have wanted to go on account of Logan. However, the simple fact that I wasn't being invited upbraided me. Groups of 3 women are often difficult. Someone always feels as if she is getting shortchanged, even if it's all in her imagination. Initially, when Christine joined the family, this person was me.
I want my purse.
Your purse is behind you, sweetie. It's under the blanket.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you dropped the marker. It's on the floor. Once the bond between Christine and Mary was cemented, Mary was much less difficult to get along with. Our lives became more peaceful. I got a decent job at a government agency with good pay and started to feel a little more confident about my career path. While Cody and I still hadn't eased into what most people would consider a conventional marriage, one based on romantic love, we had developed a highly functional relationship. We communicated well with each other and we complimented each other on an intellectual level. Not long after I had Logan, Christine and Mary bore their first child, Aspen and Mariah, Leon. We started off on the greatest adventure of our lives, parenting an ever-growing brood of wonderful kids. A greater sense of camaraderie sprung out of raising our children together. Becoming parents as one family became the most essential part of our lives and the most defining trait of our family life. I think that when Christine and Mary had their first children, they began to understand me a little better. After I had Logan and before my sisterwives had kids of their own, they didn't understand why I was so tired so much of the time. They didn't understand my priorities. They thought I was complaining too much about trivial things, such as not having time to shower, do the dishes, or run errands. However, once their children were born, they were able to empathize with the challenges of motherhood and how having a child can complicate the simplest things. Good job. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once they grasped this, they were more willing to help me out. We were able to lean on one another and help to accomplish little tasks that motherhood makes difficult. Cleaning, errands, taking on the phone in peace. For the most part, Mary, Christine, and I were able to put aside our differences and create a warm and stable environment for our kids. We raised them as one family. While they may have separate mothers, they do not think of themselves anything other than full siblings. I loved co-parenting our kids. I was able to work while Mary and Christine homeschooled the children who weren't sent to our church school. I felt safe and secure knowing that while I was out of the office, my children were receiving precisely the education and the care I wished for them. I never worried when my children were out of my sight. I trusted Mary and Christine to handle every situation and to make all parental decisions in my absence in this regard. In this regard, we were one team. I didn't have to be called on whether to administer cold medicine or not. I did not have to be called when Logan hit another one of the children. Christine and Mary handled it the way they knew I would want it handled. It was lovely.
I see Maya.
You okay?
I tell my Maya.
Yeah, that's Mommy and Avalon. Do you like that? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I know.
When he was little, Logan was a daredevil. He got into everything. He was fearless. One afternoon, Mary had heated up some syrup and placed it in a pitcher on the counter. It was far out of the reach of any of our children. However, somehow, Logan managed to rig up a contraption made from several chairs, which he climbed up to get his hands on the pitcher. He was too small to lift the pitcher and brought it crashing down on his head. The syrup scalded his forehead. Mary knew exactly what to do to minimize the burn. By the time I got home from work, there was only a small mark on Logan's face. When you have so many kids as we do, these small traumas are not at all uncommon. Most of the time, when one of my kids got injured, I wouldn't find out about it until I got home from the office. By then, everything would have been taken care of by my SIsterwives. Whichever child had been hurt would be soothed, and the accident was already a fading memory. My coworkers, most of whom didn't know I was a polygamist, never understood why I was able to work late at a moment's notice. I was always at a loss to explain why I was so flexible regarding my home life. They didn't understand why I was never stressed about daycare and grocery shopping, playdates and doctor's appointments for my kids. They couldn't figure out why I didn't need to rush home to fix dinner, or why I never ever discussed what I was cooking. My coworkers thought I had the easiest life imaginable. Some of them even wondered if I was secretly wealthy. If you can imagine that, I didn't explain my situation, but I did hint that I had the best babysitters in the entire world. From the day they were born, my children entered a rich, thriving environment with various outlooks to color the way they see and appreciate the world. For all of their lives, they have had the benefit of 4, now 5, parents who expose them to a wide range of different interests, talents, and opinions. I know it is a cliche to say it, but if it does truly take a village to raise a child, my children have grown up in the best town in America. I'm not good at arts and crafts, and my cooking and baking skills are not anything to boast about. As always, I prefer to lose myself in my work. So my major contribution to the family is financial and practical. Thankfully, my kids never suffered from having a mother who can't sew or bake. There are 3 other wonderful mothers in their lives who are creative and talented in areas in which I am not. So my children never go without amazing Easter outfits or Halloween costumes. If a birthday party were left up to me, I'd rush off to the supermarket on my way home from work and pick up a sheet cake with greasy blue roses. Thankfully, I have Christine in my family who usually jumps at the chance to make something homemade. Even though Christine is extremely creative and generous with her time around the house, a lot of the time she flies by the seat of her pants. She's so carefree and silly that she can often overlook the most basic details, such as the need to put gas in the car. I, on the other hand, am a worrier and a planner. I make my SIsterwives crazy with my plans and my contingency plans and my contingency plans. Although these differences do lead to conflicts, they make our household a fun, dynamic place. Even though I clash with Christine and Mary from time to time, I'm thrilled that my kids have had the benefit of both of their personalities. If they had grown up with just me, there would be so many things to which I wouldn't have exposed them. My SIsterwives have prided my kids with a wealth of experience, and they have helped me create 6 wonderful, well-rounded children. About 5 years into our marriage, after Christine had joined and the family and things had settled down somewhat, Cody began to mature emotionally. This change had a lot to do with the fact that Cody started taking charge of his own decisions. When Cody was new to polygamy, he often sought the counsel of elders who had grown up in the faith and now had plural families of their own. Among those he turned to for guidance were the members of Mary's family. Obviously, learning from those familiar with the faith and principle was crucial to Cody's development. However, no 2 families or situations are alike. Eventually, Cody had garnered enough guidance from outsiders when he began to rely on what was in his heart instead of primarily on the guidance of others. His emotional maturity began to show. He began to make decisions confidently, and he asserted what he wanted instead of what others told him to want. When this happened, he became a stronger leader in our household. He developed the confidence to take charge and stand on his own 2 feet. While he still had a lot of responsibility with 3 wives and many little kids, he had grown into a profound sensitivity and consideration, the likes of which I had never seen in any other man. I guess having 3 wives and many children taught him how to communicate with us in clear and loving ways. And he discovered how to devote himself to each of his marriages. He burst out of the fog in which he'd been wandering during those first tumultuous years, and became the most sensitive and caring husband and parent I could have thought possible. Without his maturation, our lives as one cohesive and coherent family would never have become what they are today. Although Cody had matured significantly and was no longer the naive, spontaneous romantic with such a large family, we still had trouble making ends meet. For much of the first decade of my marriage, I lived with Mary and Christine. One house was crowded, and paying the bills was always a challenge. We never had enough money, no matter how hard we worked. This was the main point of contention in any argument I had with Cody. Do you want to sit on my lap and I'll hold you instead? Do you want me to hold you up here?
Yeah.
Okay, come here, sweetie. Pause. Come here. Come here. I got you. I got you. I'll get the blanket too. I'll get it. Don't worry, baby girl. Here, we're going to do like this. You're going to sit across my lap. There you go. See? And then you can rest your head on my shoulder. How's that? Is this what you needed?
Yeah.
I'll get your toys. Don't you worry. I'll get them. Do you want them on our lap? Or are you okay if they sit on the table? Can they sit up here?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put one right here next to Oma. See? It's going to be next to Oma. And I'm going to put the other one right here next to your food. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay? Okay. Well then, shall we continue? Okay. I'm going to read some more. Is that okay? Good. Good talk. I just got to find out where I am. Although Cody had matured significantly and was no longer the naive, spontaneous romantic with such a large family, we still had trouble making ends meet. For much of the first decade of my marriage, I lived with either Mary or Christine. Our house was crowded, and paying the bills was always a challenge. We never had enough money, no matter how hard we worked. This was the main point of contention in any argument I had with Cody. That, and we were practically on top of one another in our small house. There wasn't any room to breathe or think. Cody did the best he could, and I never once doubted his commitment to me or to our children. Whenever I expressed my grievances, Cody would always remind me, I'm committed, I'm not going anywhere. I knew he never would. He was the one and only stalwart in my life and the best and most hands-on father I had ever seen. During the 8th year of our marriage, I gave birth to my 5th child, Gabriel. Afterward, I sank into a horrible postpartum depression. I felt overwhelmed by having had so many children in quick succession and felt seriously depressed at our lack of financial means. I knew I was miserable, but had no idea how to fix the situation. I always had a particularly nasty fight with Mary, one of the worst we'd ever had. I was at my breaking point. I couldn't see my way out of my depression. I told Cody that I was leaving. That night, I got in the car and drove to my mother's house. The next morning, Cody picked me up to run errands with him. While we were driving, he nonchalantly asked me, "So, are you better now?" You have to eat the pancake first, sweetie. Eat the pancake first and then I'll give you the candy. I know. It's exhausting having to eat a pancake. His failure to understand how low I was felt like a slap in the face. Part of me wanted to scream, and part of me wanted to laugh at his ignorance and his hopefulness that everything had become better overnight. That afternoon, I bundled all the kids into the car and took them to my mom's. I had reached rock bottom. Until this point, the majority of my struggles with my family arose from sharing a living space. For several years, I had had the means to move out and into my own place if I had been willing to turn my back on contributing financially to the family. But I wasn't. When we all came into the principal, we looked down on plural families that didn't live together. We believed that living as a unit made us stronger and allowed us to achieve necessary personal and spiritual growth quicker. As we saw it, living under one roof was the only way to do things. We had swallowed this ideal completely. So despite my struggles within the family, I was unwilling to give up this vision that I had held onto since I had accepted polygamy. However, after that fight with Mary, I had had enough. My kids and I stayed with my mother for several months until I found my own place. My job paid a decent salary, which allowed me to buy a better car. In addition to my own home, I started to build a life for myself apart from the sisterhood. I wanted my identity as an individual apart from the family, and to achieve that, I needed my own house. I also knew that if I left our shared space, I wouldn't be leaving the marriage or the family. Cody would have done anything he had to in order to keep us all connected in one house or many. Soon after I got my own house, I made one of the most important decisions of my life. I went back to school and got a degree in accounting. Getting a degree changed my world. I didn't realize how badly I'd wanted to do something like this. I felt personally and intellectually fulfilled. I was also certain that my career would thrive. This sense that I was taking control of my life and my future gave me invaluable self-confidence. While I was living on my own, I was in no way cut off from the family. After a while, Cody began staying at my house on our nights together. I was also determined that my children should not feel separated from their siblings. During the day, I would drive them nearly 30 miles to Christine and Mary, who would provide daycare and homeschooling. On the weekends, we would get together for family meals. Yet, the separation did wonders for me. I was able to run my household as I wanted, not as my sister-wives suggested. Before marrying Cody, I had always done the dishes in the morning, leaving my evenings free for relaxation. This habit, which in my mind is certainly not a bad one, drove my sister-wives crazy. They insisted that I clean up at night, which irked me. Things like this may seem trivial, but over the years, small differences can really fester and come to stand for larger issues. But now, on my own, I didn't have to worry about what anyone else thought. I could leave the dishes in the sink overnight as I liked. I could do things as they pleased me. In addition to being able to indulge my housekeeping habits, having my own place allowed me to focus on work and on school. And perhaps because I was so busy, I didn't have time to think about the petty stuff that was the source of so many of my earlier grievances with Mary. We moved on. Mary, Christine, and I each had our own home. We had our own kitchens, always a major source of strife, and could live as we liked without interference or comment from the others. My happiness and my independence allowed Cody and me to enter a new phase in our relationship. I know it sounds silly to say, but after 10 years of marriage, we finally had the time to get to know each other on a more spiritual and intimate level, and to enjoy our moments alone. We became parents so soon into our marriage that we rarely had time to ourselves. When we finally did, it was refreshing and reassuring. I felt that my marriage was stronger than ever. 2 years after I'd established myself in my own house, Cody told me that he was moving the family to Utah. He had found a job for which he wouldn't have to travel. He would be home with kids every night. Okay, I told him. See you later.
Well, hi, Dad.
Hi, baby.
I did sleep.
You go sleep?
No.
Okay, go sleep. I go gym.
Say bye-bye, Daddy.
Bye-bye, Dad.
Have a good
Check out my new
workout.
shirt.
Oh my gosh. Jim Kitchu? That's awesome, Tony.
Isn't that awesome?
That is
Can you
awesome.
see it?
I can see it. Can they see it?
How about
Because if you're going to interrupt our reading, you better give some good insight.
It's a Pikachu who's swole.
They can't see him. Back up a little bit. Back up more and go to the right. Back up, back up, back up. No, that is going forward. Back up.
It's a Gym Pikachu.
It's awesome, Tony.
It's freaking amazing. All right, I'm out.
Okay, bye.
Have a good gym.
So, Daddy, have a good day.
Hi, Dad.
Bye, baby.
Bye, baby.
We will get back to this reading now, and then we have several more pages though until.
Did you get to work?
Yeah.
I think you know what your comments of people like.
I think it's working. We got 30 people here that think it's working, so I think it's working. But I gave them the wrong link, so yeah, that's exciting. But Tony, she's had. Oh my gosh. I think you did that on purpose.
Daddy's your favorite, huh?
I think you did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Daddy did that on purpose, didn't he? I think he saw. I think he did that on purpose.
You too.
I'm okay, thank you. Well, since Daddy gave it to you, guess no getting around it, huh?
I did nothing.
Your daddy is fired. I think he was watching. No. Okay. We got a few more pages and then I'll comment. This is the most, just so you guys know, typically when I read, there aren't any interruptions like this. There's no Avalon, there's no Tony. It's just you and I in the book. So this is not typical. This is in fact atypical. However, I hope you guys are enjoying it. Can I read some more? Are you gonna get back on my lap? No? You're good? Okay. You do what you don't want to do, boy. Boo. Okay, here we go. You gotta hold still though. Whatever you decide to do, you gotta either take my lap. Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. I love you. Oh, you're such a cuddler. No, thank you. I love you so much. Okay, hi. Are you gonna stay there and I'll read to you? Do you want to tell them how you used the potty yesterday? Do you want to say I used the potty?
Potty.
Potty. We're starting. Oh, hey, careful. That hurts. Okay, let's read some more. No way was I going to give up the peace and independence I had found. I had a great job. I had a great house. I wasn't leaving. And most of all, I wasn't going to live with my sisterwives under one roof again. I worried about what would happen if we all lived together once more. I was stubborn. I stood my ground for almost a year. But soon I started to miss the family, and I knew that my children really missed living closer to their siblings. As I was coming to this realization, Cody told me something that completely changed my mind regarding the move to Utah. He had found a house, a big house with 3 separate apartments, each with its own living quarters, kitchen, living room, and bedrooms. The house had 7 bathrooms. It was a polygamous family's dream. This was all I needed to know. My kids could be reunited with their siblings on a permanent basis. I could be close to my family, yet still have my space. I was delighted by this development. I had been alone for months, and I could no longer deny that I was incredibly lonely. I miss my family. I miss the everyday interactions, the liveliness, and the chaos. The fact that we could all live together, yet maintain a separate living quarters, felt like a dream come true. And it turned out to be just that. The big house changed everything. We were able to gather together as a family in a natural and relaxed way. I had my own space, but my kids had their siblings and other mothers in the same building. Most important, Cody was going to be home all the time. From the day Logan, our first child, was born, Cody had shown himself to be the best father any child could have hoped for. Now with the new house and his new job, he had the opportunity to see all of his kids on a daily basis. It was magical. The new phase that Cody and I had embarked upon when I moved into my own house only grew sweeter in the big house. I had been so overrun with quick kids, my job, and my schooling that I had never allowed myself to be emotionally vulnerable to him. Throughout the first years of our relationship, especially when I was feeling unsure of my place in the family, I was determined to prove my self-sufficiency. When I first met Cody, love was only about an intellectual connection and a friendship. I wanted a practical relationship that would provide a happy, stable environment for my children. That was enough for me. I am low maintenance when it comes to all things romantic. I prefer a good conversation and on an afternoon spent together in a bookstore than the all hand-holding and happy, sweet talk in the world. Nevertheless, I had to have a husband who is unbelievably sensitive to my needs and wants. He is intimately engaged with his children. He is the most logical, loving parent I've ever seen. So I'd looked into the most romantic thing I could have ever dreamed of. An ideal parent with whom I also have an intellectual connection. In the big house, I started to let down my guard and show Cody more sensitive sides. I felt confident in my place in the family, yet I had my own personal space. I have always been wary of being emotionally vulnerable because I'm afraid of being hurt. I throw up a wall and resist letting people in. In the big house, however, I found myself able to let him know when something was bothering me. Hey, don't touch that, broski. You're going to mess this up, and then Tony's going to have to fix it, and it's going to... No more. No, 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 I'm not kidding. Hey, look at mom. 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 I love you. I'm here. You have other things. You don't need this. This is daddy's. We don't touch daddy's. Okay?
Okay.
Promise?
Need me, Mama.
Yes. Promise? Thank you.
Need me, Mama.
You need mama. Yes. Mommy's here.
Mama,
Mama's here.
I want to sleep.
You want to go to sleep? Okay, do you want me to put the blanket on you? Shh. She started snoring. It's fake snoring, but it's snoring. I am in the big house, however, I found myself able to let him know when something was bothering me. I allowed myself to let him see what I was hurting and to help me if I needed it. Cody and I have forged a life together from a strange and distant beginning. We continue to evolve as a couple, exploring a more tender and romantic side of our relationship. In many ways, you could say our love story is just beginning. My relationship with Cody wasn't the only relationship that benefited from our move into the big house. Once I finished school and rediscovered my self-esteem, I stopped taking others' criticism of me so seriously. I had to learn that I wasn't going to let anyone tell me how I should act, what I should do, or how I should behave. And once I stopped listening to everyone else's voices in my head, I began to relax around my SIsterwives. We came to a mutual understanding and a collective respect for our similarities and differences. We've done so much growing up together, and like real sisters, we can look back on our collective struggles, our major arguments and silly squabbles, and if not laugh at them, at least shrug them off. Now we can't even remember what half the fights were about. We've shared so much and been through a lot that a word or a signal we can remind one another of an entire experience or story. We are bonded by our emotional history as well as our collective experiences. Our life together, however, is still a day-by-day process. Every day, we all have to check our natural reactions to things and temper them. We have to be careful not to say things to one another in a hurtful manner. Every decision we make has to be grounded in what is best for the entire family as a whole. It's complicated, but it's worth it because we've created something rich and intricate. If I were to lose one of my SIsterwives or one of their children, I would feel as if I had lost a limb. Although Mary, Christine, and I are very different in our natures, we have grown to share the same values. The family we have now is an amalgam of each of our individual habits. We have all contributed something to the way our family runs. My SIsterwives have influenced the way I see the world, and I have done the same for them. Some of these changes are moral. We are among our culture considered fairly open-minded, almost liberal. And some of these changes are practical. For instance, if one of my SIsterwives prefers to feed her kids at 7 and the other at 5, we'll adopt a 6 as our dinner time. By adapting to and adopting one another's traits, we've developed our own culture. One of my things I had to work on once I moved into the big house with my SIsterwives was not falling into the pitfall of comparing my relationship with Cody to theirs. Comparison is the death of a plural marriage. It leads to deliberate, debilitating unhappiness. For instance, if I see that one of my SIsterwives has apples, my instinct is to say that I want apples, even if what I really want is oranges. I have to be true to myself and admit that I want to want and not simply want something because my SIsterwife has it. I can't regress and say, Cody, you love her more because you gave her apples and I don't have apples. Our marriages are individual and we don't want or need the same things. But awareness of what someone else has in her relationship can cause you to question yours. And this is where the danger lies. Cody is tender with us in different ways. He has different methods of expressing his love. Maybe he leaves notes for one wife, sweet voicemails for another, or maybe the way of showing his love is by always putting someone's kids to bed. These differences are vital to our lives. They are what make each of our marriages unique and special. Somehow, after 16 years, we had finally arrived at the ideal I'd envisioned when I'd accepted the principle. I was part of a happy, thriving family. We were all able to make decisions as a group with a minimum of strife and bruised feelings. We had found our groove. I didn't think that anything could disrupt our flow. I was fairly surprised when Cody came to me one afternoon and told me he was thinking about courting Robin. but the way he handled it left me in awe of his emotional growth. He had learned so much from all the years with Mary, Christine, and me. When Cody began to court Robin, it became clear to me that he finally empathized with the difficulty I had coming into the family. He'd showed that he had learned from my struggles and was very careful about how slowly he integrated Robin into our lives. He allowed her ample time to get to know each wife and all of our children individually. When they were getting to know each other before they'd been given permission to court, Cody would bring one of the wives or several of the children down to St. George in southern Utah to spend a weekend with Robin. In doing so, he made sure Robin felt as if she was going to be an important part of our family, and he'd also let the family know that they were still as important as they'd been before Robin came into the picture. He was very protective of Robin, so that when they eventually married, she would feel as if she already belonged in our midst. Cody and Robin's courtship coincided with a huge development in our lives. After careful consideration and endless family discussions, we decided to participate in a reality TV show about our family. This decision wasn't without complications. After all, there can be consequences when polygamists go public. But these unfamiliar waters certainly complicated Robin's entry into the family, and drew out her courtship with Cody and forced their wedding to be put off for a few extra months. I was completely fine with Robin and Cody's courtship. It wasn't until after they got married that I started to struggle. It's hard to reconfigure your life, your needs, and your children's needs with a new wife in the picture. My mother explains this adjustment in clever ways. She say that wives are like spokes in a wheel. They keep the wheel balanced, grounded, and strong. When a new wife comes in, you all need to move over. It's an uncomfortable adjustment at first, but when you get your groove back, you're stronger because of it. Robin brought 3 children into our family, which was an exciting change. We decided that a good way to integrate our family was to enroll our kids, many of whom had been homeschooled, in a public school along with Robin's kids. There are, of course, some parenting differences between the way we raised our children before Robin arrived and the way Robin brought her kids up. Since Mary, Christine, and I had so many children, we didn't have the time or the space to baby them. If something didn't go their way, tough. Get up, brush yourself off, get on to the next thing. We're not catering to you. Robin coddles her children more, which is certainly understandable given their previously tumultuous home life. So we are learning from her and she is learning from us. This, like many things in our household, is a work in progress. The most important thing Robin has taught us is how to argue in a more effective and polite manner. With such a chaotic household, there are going to be a lot of discussions. Sometimes these can become heated and they blow up. Before Robin came into the family, our arguments would often end unresolved with raised voices and slammed doors. Frequently, we were all worse off after a family discussion than before. So from time to time, it seemed worthless to discuss anything at all. Early on in their relationship, Cody and Robin got into an argument. However, through example, Robin showed him how to take the time to talk a problem out and not walk away from it before a comfortable resolution had been reached. These days, it is often Robin who takes the lead in our family discussions. She keeps a cool head and navigates us through difficult waters. She never lets us leave the room until we've settled an issue. Thanks to Robin, we are able to avoid bruised feelings and the long periods of unhappiness that used to follow our family talks. Even though Robin brought so much into our family, during the few months after she married Cody, I felt as if I were wearing shoes on the wrong feet. Our rhythm was disrupted, and I'm afraid we were all a little brutal on her. Robin went out of her way to extend olive branches to me. She'd offered to help me with the kids' homework on crazy days. She would pick up little trinkets or knickknacks that symbolized our family and offer them as just because gifts. Robin collects Christmas ornaments, and her first Christmas with the family, she selected unique ornaments to give each of us. Regardless of Robin's efforts, during the first year, I was unwilling to accept her offers. I was settled in my ways and not open to anything new. Despite my spiritual witness, I found myself kicking against opening myself up to Robin. I was certain she and Cody were destined to be together and that she was an essential part of our family, but I found myself unwilling to make the effort to build a bridge between us. As I learned during my initial months in the principal, just because something appears celestially destined doesn't make it easy. When Robin joined the family, I was very busy with my kids and my job. I was hard-headed and believed that I didn't have time or need for this new person. I imagined Robin and I could live as if we were riding in the same car, but looking out separate windows. I had worked hard to find equilibrium with Christina and Mary, and the three of us had formed our own sort of partnership. As far as bringing Robin into the family, I didn't have time. I didn't have any reservations. I just didn't commit to the necessary emotional and practical work involved. I wasn't sure that I needed or wanted to make room for a new person in my life, despite the fact that I felt spiritually convinced she should marry Cody. But after a while, I got tired of fighting against Robin and the potential friendship between us. I finally understood how helpful she had been in teaching our family how to communicate better. I realized that I was looking for a way to punish Cody and Robin for disrupting my life, and I took way too much time and energy to be angry with this woman who was trying so hard to open up to me. So I started letting her in. We still have a long way to go, but we've begun the journey. I am already starting to see the benefit of developing a relationship with Robin. Before Cody told me that he had met Robin and wanted to court her, I never had any vision of her as part of our lives. I was satisfied with our adults until unit of 4. I never saw her coming. Yet when Cody mentioned her for the first time, I felt spiritually moved. Now that she's here, it seems as if she was always meant to be here. Robin possesses an amazing amount of emotional maturity. One of the things that she has helped with in our family is pointing out areas in which all of our marriages need solidifying. She has helped Cody realize where he may be inadvertently shortchanging one of his other relationships. This, in turn, has given Cody the tools to explain to me that we need to demonstrate more warmth and affection in our marriage. I'm learning to be less pragmatic about love and more romantic, even if it's something as simple as not dashing out the door in the morning before Cody and I have had a goodbye hug. Over the years, Cody and I fell into the unfortunate habit of letting family business and finances dominate our alone time. These became the only things we ever talked about. Since I'm completely work-oriented, it didn't seem strange to me to discuss business matters on our dates. The fallout of this was that eventually Cody and I stopped talking to each other as husband and wife. Instead, we interacted like business partners. We had forgotten about the sweeter side of our marriage. Something was clearly wrong. We both understood we needed to make a change. I recognized that I needed to change my tone with him and relearn how to talk sweetly and lovingly. I began to understand that I could have a more profound, caring, and emotional relationship with my husband if we put aside all the business chatter during our evenings together. Once I started doing this, I discovered that there is unlimited potential to enrich our relationship. As a result, our marriage has grown deeper and more caring than I'd ever imagined it could be, or even knew that I wanted it to be. Just like Cody's and my individual relationship, our entire family is still evolving. We are learning more about one another every day. This is the beauty of the principle. It demands that you never stop working on yourself in order to be the best person you can be on this earth. There is no room for complacency. Naturally, there are bad days. There are times when I've said to my sisterwives in the middle of a fight, I would never be friends with you, ever. Even if it were possible, I'd hate you. But I don't hate them, not at all. You don't pick your sisters. Sometimes you get along with your sisters and sometimes you want to kill them. But deep down, you always love them. Always. All right, that is Janelle's chapter. Sorry, sweetie. Avalon is asleep on my arm. Let's see if I can I readjust you a little bit, sweetie? She's passed out. Come here. I've got you. Mom's here. There we go. See, Mama's got you. You're okay. Mama's here. No, you want to sleep this way? Okay. I've got you. Mom's here. Okay, I've got you. There we go. You're okay. I've got you. Mama's here. Okay. She's such a cutie. Oh gosh, I like this kid. All right. So, I think that did you guys notice there were a couple words I stumbled over? Janelle is very well spoken. Her dictionary is huge. So reading her chapter, I really had to try and pay attention more, which was difficult because I wanted to make sure I was reading it correctly and enunciating it correctly and stuff, but there were definitely some times that I stumbled. But she is very well spoken. She's very well spoken. She writes herself well. And I mean, I know that they had obviously like an editor and stuff, but the editor edits, you should probably pivot to saying this instead of this. They don't rewrite your stuff, hopefully. I don't really know, actually. Maybe. I have since learned that they definitely, like all the adults kind of put their 2 cents in some of the other adults' chapters and stuff. So that could have morphed what was said and what wasn't said. But, crazy. Wow. There were a lot of things I want to unpack in that chapter. A lot that I want to unpack, but it's like I almost have to read 2 pages and then unpack and read 2 pages and then unpack. I kind of want to go through this book and like annotate it again and then just kind of go through some of the passages that I read and like maybe like a recap summary. So maybe we'll do that sometime as well. But I'm going to go ahead and catch up on all the comments. I know that I obviously haven't caught up on any of the comments since I started watching, but I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out. And sorry about all the interruptions, but I think they were kind of fun as well. So, where are we? Any plans to have any get-togethers at your mom's new place in Moab? Not plans to have get-togethers. My mom's birthday, for my mom's birthday this year, they want to do a camping trip. Was it in Moab or was it? Actually, no, I think that's somewhere else. My mom wanted to do like a camping trip for her birthday this year, so that might be in Moab. I forgot. It's on a text thread though. But not necessarily because so my mom has the place as an Airbnb rented out, so she doesn't want to. If nobody has claimed the weekend in which I want to take, she said I could stay there. But the Airbnb comes first. I would do Disney World or Land. Since David, your mom, and truly seem to love it all. So that would be fun. However, it's expensive, obviously. And you've got the gas, the hotel, the time away from being able to work or whatever, like Tony's job and stuff. And then you also have the ticket and then all of the food and the stuff. But the biggest caveat against like Disneyland and Disney World is my kids' ages and their heights. There's a lot of rides that they wouldn't be able to do on. The boys would spend the whole day every day in a stroller. So it's like, right now, it's not something that we'll do. So I'm thinking when the boys are like 5 and Avalon's about 6 is when we'll probably go. Because then they're a little bit more independent. They can tell me when they need to use the bathroom or when they're hungry or when they're thirsty. And there's a lot more rides that they can go on. So that won't happen this year. But it is something that I want to do, like specifically with David and Mom, because they would love it. Excited to be awake for this. Now I have to get up and do some work. Dun, dun, dun. I love her, okay? I miss when my kids were so little. Oh, Whitney, girl. I feel you. This age is a fun stage. I mean, the amount of sass that she goes through is a lot, so. My kids used to do that. They grow out of it. The drawing. Yeah, that's why I'm not too upset about when Avalon like draws on herself because, I mean, I replaced all of the markers in my house for a reason so that they're washable, they're non-toxic. And they're just like a brand that I really like. I forgot the brand, so don't ask because I Amazon ordered them. No idea. But they make me feel a lot more comfortable about it. And I'm like, I know that she'll grow out of it. She's not harming anybody. She's doing something that honestly is probably developing a lot of skills. And she's not coloring on the walls. So cool, great. Anyway. Firstborn teaches us so much. I always figured I'd be a better mom at 2, but never got another, so I was just messed up a lot, and what I learned never mattered, I suppose. Joy, girlfriend, no, that's not it. What you learned did matter because every stage in a child's life as a parent, you use the experiences from the prior stage and the knowledge from the prior stage to kind of help out with the next stage. So yes, there's a lot of things you learn with your first kid, but there's a lot of things you learn that help with your kids' stages as well. So no, you definitely learned a lot, and all of those things that you learned helped you in further raising your child. It's not that it was wasted at all. It was all used, it was all great, and it was all, I mean, if you end up having grandkids, I don't know 100%, I'm thinking you might, but it'll also help with having grandkids. It will help with so many things. Friends that have kids, siblings that have kids. If you ever decide to do a daycare, so that it helps. You're a good girl. Looks like Gwen. I think when Gwendolyn was younger, I don't know so much about now. Gwendolyn's one of the kids that doesn't look as much like my mom. My son understands the true coolness of your shirt. I'll tell Tony. I'm loving the Avalon edition. That's awesome. She's absolutely adorable and definitely fighting sleep. Yeah, she's passed out right now. My arm's gonna go numb. That's why the OG3 still respect each other. They truly grow up and out of the work onto becoming a family. If I didn't have to share my SO, this is what I would want. My husband, your SO, your partner. I agree. I think that there's a lot that they learned. I remembered when Janelle stayed in Wyoming. I remember it very distinctly. The house that we ended up moving into, Mary and my mom shared for a little bit. It sucked, by the way. I remember them staying in Wyoming, though, and not seeing my siblings for a few months. It's because, Janelle, it's not like she could necessarily come and visit. And so not like we could all go up and visit as well, because you've got school, you've got work, you've got money. My curious thought is, though, if they were struggling so much financially, why did they take on the burden of additional houses? I don't understand that specifically. So that's my I understand needing your space, and I understand, but how were they able to afford additional homes? Did they just fly by and make it work? What exactly happened? I know that my dad's parents, none of my parents' parents were extremely affluent. So it's not like they had help financially from their parents. And I think my dad has wealthy friends now, but he definitely didn't have wealthy friends then. So I'm all of basically from the very beginning to still their money stuff. What is going on? I have no idea. No idea. I should have proofread that. Girlfriend, you're good. I can't hear. I going deaf. I might just be too far away from the mic, Mama. It's not you, probably. It's probably a me thing. Sorry, sweetie. I like hearing their stories through their eyes. I think that's another good point, too. I think that they hold back on some of the stuff. The particular fight that Janelle mentions, I remember that fight. I remember it. I think the show touches on it every now and then, but it was the biggest fight. And it makes sense now, her talking about the reason why it kind of came to that. It makes sense. She had enough of being bullied, basically, because let's be honest, Janelle was bullied, straight up. She was bullied. That's what it was. And she had enough. And then going through postpartum with Gabe and everything, I can get why she hit her limit. I think that Janelle is so valuable. She is such an incredible partner to have to help raise. She's such a soundboard. And I truly think that the beginning years of their relationship together with Cody and with Mary and Cody missed out because Janelle's 2 cents always helps. Mary is extremely particular, still to this day is particular, as you guys saw with the whole rectangle, circle, round, whatever thing going on with her redecorating her stuff. She's extremely particular, but her particularities don't always make sense. So I think that if she had let Janelle have a say more often and have an opinion and be heard more often, it could have helped so much with the first several years of their marriage to make it so maybe they would still have a relationship today, because I don't know if they all have a relationship with each other anymore, why would they? They were obviously never friends, So I think there's a lot of things that could have helped with today's relationship with the OG3 if at the beginning they listened to Janelle, I guess. I guess that's where I'm going with that. You are such a great mom. Do you think having lots of younger siblings helped prepare you for motherhood? Katie Travers, 100%. I certainly helped raise a lot of my siblings, truly, specifically, 100%. I was like a second mom to her, even though she already obviously had three others, but still, 100%. Truly called me mom, like actually. That kid. Love her. So 100%, I think the way that I was raised and having so many kids helped prepare me for motherhood. I also think it taught me a lot of do's and don'ts. There were definitely things that I didn't love in the household being raised, and so I knew that I'd want to change raising my own children. And there were things that I did love that I wanted to implement. I love my mom's silliness, her carefree, her fun spontaneity, her her creative imagination. I love it. But I also love Janelle's practicality. Janelle's, why would you do this when this is obviously like just easier? Even though that one looks cooler, this one's just gonna down the road make more sense, even if it's harder. And her stable sense. So I like that because I had so many different personalities growing up as well, and they all kind of raised their children a little bit differently. There were just like different things that all of us were kind of had, even though we were all essentially raised together. That I like pulling different things from different parts of their relationship and their raising. And I think that's really cool because all of my siblings have this opportunity to utilize the experience and the expertise from all of the moms, because most children they don't have as many personalities, basically. Like, obviously there's a lot of families out there that have one or have two moms or two dads or have one of each or kind of thing. So there's a lot of, we just get the better benefit than anybody because there's, 5 adults versus 1 or 2, So anyway, are you gonna have more kids? I am not. No, I am done having children. Avalon was originally, she wasn't going to be an only child, but she was going to be the only child that I carried. But with the boys, and I think that the universe, whoever you believe in, but basically I think that they knew that if they didn't give me twins, I was done. It was not going to happen. And Avalon was eventually going to get another sibling, but we were going to do that through adoption. And that was eventually going to happen, but not anytime soon. So I think the universe was like, no, Avalon needs siblings now, and you actually needed more children. So, boom, you're pregnant. Oh, psych, it's twins. Pretty sure that's what happened. So I'm happy where I'm at. 3 kids is great. We fit in currently any vehicle. We don't have to buy a special vehicle for us, so that's good. And pretty much we fit in any home situation. 3 bedrooms I feel like is pretty standard for most houses. At affordability wise, I think that's pretty affordable. So we're good. I'm good. There are a lot of more insights I want to add to Janelle's chapter, but I'm going to go put Avalon upstairs and down for bed. So this is it for this live. I know I could probably leave her, but she's not going to sleep very well on my arm. So we still have 2 more chapters in Sorority. Part 2, which is Christine and Robin's chapters. I would love to add more insight, but I do think it'd be kind of fun to go through and annotate the book at the different insights and things that I wanted, and then maybe at the end of reading it, we'll do kind of like a summary going through all the annotations, essentially, is kind of what I was thinking. So next week, what is next week? April is kind of a weird month for Tony and I because he's got a lot of chess tournaments this month. So next weekend, Tony's mom is going to be in town, which means I'll have ample opportunity to be able to read to you guys. The 13th, however, is Truly's birthday. She's going to be 14. So Truly, Isabel, and I are going to basically play hooky and spend the all day together shopping and having fun. So most likely we'll do our reading again Sunday morning, but we'll go a little bit longer and I won't have to worry about my kids. So I will read the next 2 chapters and maybe more next Sunday. Hey, the story. Are you aware of Without a Crystal Ball sharing footage of interviews from Garrison's story? Of course, we're aware. Very much. We're all aware. Katie Joy has a tactless manner of discussing other people's extremely personal, intimate details and dishonoring them. And that's just her. She's tactless. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. No matter how many times we have talked to different people, she can't be stopped apparently, which sucks for everybody because she is dishonoring him. And it's awful, you know? What kind of vile person does stuff like that? But at the end of the day, I can't do anything about it. Hopefully she's supporting her family. Hopefully she has a guilty conscience. All right, and on that note, I'm just recently more traumatized by some of the stuff that she released. So we're going to move on because, yeah. But you guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys tons. There's nothing we can do about her. I've tried. Believe me, I've tried. I don't know who she is on this account because she does follow me, but I don't know who she is. No idea. So there's nothing I can do about it, but it is what it is, you know. There's a lot of other YouTubers and vloggers out there, and I feel like for the most part, most people are respectful, especially about, you know, Garrison stuff. I feel like most everybody is respectful about it. Obviously, everybody's got their own sense of drama. Anyway, I'm going to be done because I'm going to go off on a tangent, and it's not going to end good because then it's just going to put me in a mood. So we'll go for a moody live later, but thank you again so much. I appreciate all of you.